Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, back with Jesse and Garrett for episode number 57.
Wow. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning, guys. How was your guys' weekend?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, pretty exciting.
It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
Yeah. I know last week we talked a little bit about organization in the business. So I organized my house a little bit this week. That's what I did this weekend. I cleaned the garage out.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was nice. Got all the stuff put away. Got all the crap moved around. You know, it was kind of nice. It was.
We're like in opposite spots. Like my house is not organized.
Yeah,
and all of my crap is sitting in my garage.
Yeah. Well, I think we both know why.
Why is that?
Because you're quitting.
What? I ain't quitting.
You quitter.
I'm not quitting.
Quitter.
Garrett, am I quitting?
I don't think so.
Thanks, bud.
Feels like it.
I'm not quitting.
You
You're
want to
not
tell
a
the
quitter.
audience or?
No, we'll let you go ahead. Go right
Okay.
ahead.
Well, Jesse and Brianna, they're moving to Nashville.
Yep. We're moving.
Moving to Nashville.
We are.
You gonna
Yep.
become a cowboy?
I already am one, Garrett.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I drive a Kia 150 and I have a cowboy hat. I've been there for a while.
Yeah. So no, that doesn't make you a cowboy. I don't know how that does. Nope, that's not how it works at all.
Oh,
Pretty
someone
sure
lied to
no
me.
John Wayne movie started with
Well, they didn't have a Kia.
rolling up in a Kia.
They didn't have a Kia then. Right? They didn't have a Kia then.
I don't think John Wayne would have been as big of a badass if he showed up in a Kia.
I think he still would have. Look at me. Like, I'm a badass. I
My
drive
exact
a Kia.
statement.
See?
Thank you.
See what I'm saying?
My case has
We would have been a
made.
lot alike.
Nope, I don't think so at all. I think you
Yeah,
and John Wayne
for
have
sure.
nothing in common.
I'm only 8 inches shorter, you know? We had a lot going there for us.
He's way better looking than you.
That's not true. Shut up.
knows
He's
how to
dead.
ride a
How can you be
horse.
better looking than me if he's dead? That's an insult.
He rides a horse.
So do I.
No,
Yeah, I do.
no,
Well,
no. Pretty sure you don't even know how to get on a horse.
yeah, I'm married to one. Duh.
Oh,
Oh no. Oh, this is good news. Jesse's no longer going to Nashville. His wife is going without him.
Well, that's what you said. Like, if he gets a divorce,
Yeah.
can he stay? And she
That-
said yes.
That
Remember?
was, that was my first question. So Jesse's wife, Brianna, her family lives in Nashville.
Yeah,
And
just outside of Nashville.
So they obviously for family reasons, which we won't disclose, but they're going down there for some family stuff that
Yep.
they're tending to. But yeah, the first question I asked Brianna was, so does Jesse get to stay if you guys get divorced? So I've been working on the divorce now.
Yeah, we both have been.
Yeah,
We've
it's
been
been
both
good.
pushing.
we're gonna
good.
miss you though, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be back. You guys know that.
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
travel back.
It won't
and
be the same though.
I'll be remote, so we'll still
Yeah.
talk, and me and Brandon will FaceTime daily.
You just dropped the good news though. The good news though, now that everybody's kind of in a small panic, is Jesse's not leaving us. He's
I
working
got too
remotely.
excited. I'm sorry.
Yep, he took a position with us that's going to allow him to work from Nashville. So we're not losing him.
Nope.
He'll still be on the team. You'll still be able to talk to him. His contact will still be the same. So
Yep.
nothing's changing there. And
Working
he's going to
just
stay
as
on the
hard in
podcast too.
Tennessee.
So
Yeah, I am.
pretty excited about that. So the podcast will go on.
Yep.
We're just not sure in what that's going to look like yet. We're playing with it a little bit. I promise you guys, we're going to work on trying to make it seem like he's not remote.
Yeah.
But bear with us as we're learning as we get into that. So it's gonna. Right now he's here. He'll be here for a few more episodes, but then
Yeah, I think we got at least about 8 weeks left, something like that, 7-8 weeks before we're packing up and going.
cool. So we should get a handful of episodes more before that actually happens. But yeah, I thought I'd share some news that was shared with us.
Yeah.
So
A lot won't change.
Yeah, we're gonna sell everything. Feel free, stop over. I'll autograph it for you, sign it, get some of my stuff.
why would they want you to
Clean up.
devalue the stuff they're buying from you?
No, it'll be worth more, right?
No, your autograph.
We're on episode 57. We're a big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you gonna get an accent after you get down there?
I think so.
You're gonna go
I think so.
Are you gonna get one?
I'm going to talk to Router Bob to see if he can help me. Send me the right
I love
thing.
that he
I want
asked,
you to
are
get
you
one.
going to get one? Like you were going to drive to the store like, okay, now that we're here, you got to get your license changed. All right, yep, got that done. Got to get the utilities set up. Yep, got that. Okay, now we got to go to the accent store.
Yep. It's 2 blocks west,
Yeah,
a block north.
That's not how this works.
They're going to give you a dozen to choose from. Pick
Oh,
carefully.
Man. Hey, how's your neck this morning doing?
Dude, I cannot look to the right. I have a case of the rightsies.
the rightsies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to your race Friday night, right? And we're having a great time and we're watching and I'm so excited. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I can't move my head. I can't look to the right. I'm like, Bree, something's wrong. My head will not move to the right.
All those left turns and you got a stiff neck.
I watched Brandon come around. I'm like, all right, he comes to the left and he passes by so fast. My head whips to the right. And it did it so many times, I'm just stuck. It's pinched, man.
You got a case of the lefts.
You get the right turns.
You got to get the right turns out of your neck.
You got to get the right turns out.
That's so
But
funny.
no, man, great race for you on Friday, right? Finished second, not quite first, but you raced hard.
Yeah,
right?
it was fun.
You kind of got screwed on that one a little bit.
Yeah,
just a touch.
We had fun. It was a good race.
But then you, big win Saturday night, right?
Big win Saturday night. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, so it was
good
fun.
to bounce back.
Yeah, it was a good time. But Garrett, what'd you do this weekend?
I shot a wedding Saturday, so that consisted. Well, that was most of my weekend right there. And then Sunday we did some work up at the cabin, drove
Took a
home and
shot at a
relaxed.
wedding?
Huh?
You took a shot at a wedding?
I wish I was sober for that wedding. I was
That's
working
Say
it.
you can tell he didn't drink this week and he remembers what he did.
Fair enough. And he showed up.
Because you ask a previous, what'd you do this weekend? I don't know, hung out.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't remember what you did.
Can't remember what he did.
Not true. Not
And he
true
showed
at
up today. That's the other
He did.
difference too.
He did.
all. Not true.
So that's cool. Well,
Sounds like
today's
every day.
episode. What are we going to talk about today?
Inflation.
The real truth and inflation. Okay, got it, guys. Both of you guys have it. So we're going to talk about inflation. The real truth, I guess.
This could be a fun morning.
That's perfect. I like that title.
I like it too. That's good. I just love how when you throw out inflation, the other one yells out, the real truth. Garrett, what are we talking about? The real truth about? About what?
I just figured it was the real truth.
The real truth he throws out. Oh, that was pretty good.
No.
Appreciate
Maybe
that.
we can pause this so I can get myself together.
Yeah, I was saying, well, we're never gonna get this.
He's over
We're
here
never
just
getting this off
dying.
the ground because Garrett's in one of those moods.
Why did
No.
we choose this topic, Brandon?
Well, I don't even know which topic we chose in this one because there's two topics. But no, I think I like the idea of inflation.
Yeah.
We'll call it inflation.
Well, I don't like the
real
idea. I don't like the idea of inflation.
No, I like the idea of that.
Let's cover that topic.
That topic, yeah.
And we'll
You know,
figure
we're
out
hearing
the-
a lot more about it lately. I think that's a good reason why we chose that topic. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, more and more people, you know, beat up sales. To be honest with you, you hear the sales team getting beat up on. You know, they can't believe that the prices have gone up since last year. Or they, you know, they were here 6 months ago and now the prices are more today. And it kind of blows me away that people are surprised that the price went up.
Right. Me
Like,
too.
have you seen the world we're in right now?
Have you been to the gas
Have you
station?
been to the grocery store?
Yeah, like let me ask you guys, Jesse, what inflation have you felt or seen?
You really want to get into this with me?
Yeah, I just want just one thing. What's one thing that you say that you've seen? Like,
Dude, food's got to be the biggest one for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I got 3 kids,
Yeah.
5 people in a family, and food is the one that I think hurts the most
Yeah.
right now.
I agree with that.
I think I'm about 38% higher
Yeah.
than what I typically was a year ago.
that's
for-
crazy.
As far as my
What about
food
you,
budget.
Garrett? What are you seeing?
I would say movie theater tickets. Back in the 90s, they were what, like $1.20, and now they're over $9 to go see a movie at a movie theater. I mean, that's insane.
Well, if we're going
That's
to do that,
absurd.
let's talk about the candy bar. Back
Did
in my,
he just pick movie ticket prices? That's
based
the
off
one
the
thing you
90s.
notice.
Based
I
off,
mean,
based
it's a very big change. Though. I mean, it's
off a time frame when he wasn't even alive.
You know what blows me? Yeah, exactly. He wasn't even born in the 90s. He
I sure
born-
was.
No, you
Excuse
weren't.
me?
No, weren't you born in 2001 or something
No.
like that? 2000?
pre-99.
99? Is that what you were? You went to the movies in 99. Remember getting your ticket?
Yeah.
I know history, right?
I know history.
Where are you feeling it?
Gas prices.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I knew you were going to say it, so I let you know
Gas
that.
prices. For me, like diesel prices, man. Going to the racetrack costs me an arm and a leg now, and then you
Yeah.
got to put race gas in your car, and that's expensive.
Yep.
No thanks.
I couldn't even make it to my cabin there and back without filling up, and it cost me $80. So just to go up north, $80. See ya.
Okay, what'd you do after you got past Lakeville? That's $80 for me.
It's true.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
No, it's true though. I mean,
You know who doesn't have that problem? This guy.
Well, you still pay the same
John
price.
Wayne.
Yeah, John Wayne over here for sure.
John Wayne with his horse.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, but it's serious. I mean, like those are the things that you notice, and like so. Let's just take the 3 things that were mentioned here. Okay, we got food,
Yep.
we got the fuel, and then obviously the movie tickets. I'm not sure how this is going to play in, but yes, that's the 3 things we have. You know, consider how other things. You know, how do prices like equipment not go up? Right?
Right.
We have to ship stuff all over the country.
Yes, we do.
You're buying product, you're buying different things. So just the shipping alone, I mean, gas prices for me, looking at my diesel prices compared to last year, they're 3 times higher right now for me. 3 times. That means I could have drove to the track 3 times for the cost of what it cost me once now.
Yeah.
Like,
That
think
hurts,
about
doesn't
that.
it?
Yeah. And so now you think about that in a trucking world, right?
Yep.
Think about all the freight they're moving, but at the expense of what they're, having to pay to do it. Well, of course, they're going to increase their cost to ship things then to offset that cost.
Well, they have to.
Yeah. So then that trickles down to me, right?
Right.
And, me, the actual, manufacturer, it costs me more money to buy those parts now.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you, the end user, are going to also see it.
It's a trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, you talk about food. Obviously, food prices, that affects people, obviously.
Food's connected to gas.
Yep. You start looking at, movie tickets, entertainment, things like that. I mean, the difference is I'm making fun of Garrett for picking movie tickets just because it's funny, but the reality is it's a true topic because it falls in line with entertainment.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what I think, Garrett brings up there that, needs to be considered is that it's not just the movie tickets themselves. It's the cost of entertainment right now.
Right.
Obviously you got fuel costs, you got, the cost to eat, but now you have the cost of entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
You can't cut eating out of your day-to-day routine, right?
No, you can't.
You're going to pay those prices.
Right.
You can't necessarily cut fuel out in many cases, right?
For the most part, yeah.
So the one thing that you can cut out, entertainment.
Is entertainment.
Right? You don't have to have entertainment,
Nope.
right?
That's
You might
extra.
you might go a little crazy if you don't have some entertainment in your life. But the point is like that is a trickle-down effect again. So you cut out that entertainment. Well, guess what? The people who work at the entertainment industry,
That affects them.
that affects them now, right? And so now, again, that's how things kind of roll out of control here. And so it shouldn't surprise you when you see that prices have gone up in 6 months.
No, you should be expecting it.
As much as it's not a good thing,
No.
it's out of control, and we shouldn't be in this position, but the reality is we are.
Yep.
And so because we are, there's a lot going on in the world right now, you have to take that into consideration, that inflation is very real right now.
Yeah, it is.
The real truth.
The real truth.
Right?
The snowball only gets so big, though. At some point, that snowball's got to break.
It's the truth. That
It's
is the
true.
truth right there. I mean, it is. Eventually something has to give somewhere. And, I consider myself a very frugal person. I'm not one to typically buy something without noticing a price first. I try to, price shop as much as I can.
Right.
And I notice price changes, like I notice it considerably. Things change, I notice it.
See, I'm a little different than you. I'm not as frugal, but I also don't spend a lot. I buy things if I want it. I typically don't pay attention to the price previously.
Yep.
Now I look at the price of everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
out
I've
of-
done that
it's out of control.
always. Yeah, I've done that always, but it's not because I just want the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
I want the best value.
Right.
And I don't believe I can determine value if I don't know what the prices are.
Very true.
You have to understand it and understand what is it comparably to others of similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I always try to look at it is like, when I'm picking up, a product off the shelf, as an example, a laptop, okay? Let's just use a laptop as an example. There's many different manufacturers out there. But I look at the value of that laptop, right? Apple laptops, for example, notoriously are more money than, an HP or any other brand, right?
Right.
And you see people who view them as the same, but they're not.
Because they're both computers.
They're both computers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, no. I mean, to me, an Apple laptop is worth more money than an HP computer, in my opinion. I mean,
my
from
opinion,
a value, from a technology, that's what I'm looking at. It comes from a value adder. It's the things that you get from an Apple. You tell me how many times you see people with Apple computers saying that they got a virus and they can't use their computer anymore.
I honestly don't know of anybody that's had one.
I
know they're out there, so
Yeah.
don't blow us up.
I've never
but I
had
don't know
one, and I've
anybody.
used Apple since 9th grade. So
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like my wife's had them forever. My wife's the one that got me hooked on them. Like she, being a teacher, and like I think they're awesome. But before that, I always had, HP computers, and I mean, I was always having computer problems. Windows was having an issue here. This would go bad. And it's like with Apple, it's a value. Like I spend more money up front for that Apple computer, but it lasts a lot longer.
Yep. I was
And-
just in that situation last night with a product. I bought
Yeah.
a much more expensive product to replace a cheaper one that I bought previously.
Well, that's exactly, and that kind of falls in line with like a ShopSabre, right?
Right.
That's what the difference is. You get guys that call us up and they're like, "Oh, so and so's machine is $10,000 cheaper than yours." Like, yeah, you should buy the ShopSabre then if we're only $10,000 more than that one.
Right.
Like, you got to think about that. Your long-term life of ownership, what does that look like? Like, the ShopSabre will outlast the competition. I mean, it's been proven.
We've seen it.
You know, and so that's where it goes back to. I always look for the value in anything I buy, and that's where I'll pay a little bit more for a premium product.
Right.
I will.
Right.
But I'm not going to pay more for a base level product.
No.
I don't like that.
No, and I'll pay substantially more for a valuable product too. You know, you say a little bit more, but if that has the value, right?
Yeah.
If it's a huge difference in price, but the value is there for the more expensive, I'm going to purchase that.
Yeah. You know, and I realize prices change, you know, and it's necessary based on economic change, right?
Right.
You know, but what are some things that are influencing these changes? What do you guys think?
One of the biggest things is the cost of materials, right?
Material costs. Yeah. I mean, look at cabinets right now, right? Cost of, lumber right now.
Right.
Like,
Demand, especially with COVID going on, the demand for some stuff was crazy.
I think
People
that's huge
reselling
too.
stuff.
Yeah, you got material costs, obviously, as you were saying, but then the supply and demand. You know, it's
right.
Now you have, as you said, there's a demand for things right now that are just on the rise. Well, there's limited supply,
right,
and massive demand. Of course, what's going to happen? If I have, an item here that you want, and you can't get it anywhere else, and I know that you can't get it anywhere else, is that not a seller's market there?
You're going to make some money.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of how it works.
Baby formula right now, they said on the radio actually this morning. This is the next one. Baby formula apparently we're out of it.
I don't even want to talk about that. That makes me angry.
Yeah, it makes me angry too.
About that. The people out there that are harboring baby formula and don't have babies and they're reselling it, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah.
But, let's look at another thing that's influencing this change. It is labor costs right now.
It's expensive to have
employees. You just can't find people.
If you can find them, yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, labor costs are through the roof because there's not enough people.
But if you find one, you're going to pay for them right now,
Correct.
too. That's the other side.
Well, it's just like, again, landscaping. I talked to you about that landscaping, example a couple weeks ago where I said the guy has a minimum, right? He's like, I don't do anything for less than $1,500.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to do anything because he doesn't need to. His labor time for him is, hey, you know what? You're going to pay this minimum if I'm coming out to your house.
Either you agree to it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, I'll just go to somebody who will agree to it,
Yeah. There's 8 other people that want me at their house today.
Yeah. And then obviously, as we just talked about a little earlier, gas and oil prices are influencing this stuff.
They are.
Shipping costs and delays, obviously all of that has the one thing is what people don't realize is gas and oil prices affect the trucking industry, right?
Right.
Costs go up for everything.
They're
But
probably
also,
hit the hardest, I bet, huh?
Yeah, but think about all the companies that just aren't in business anymore. How many trucking companies are just like, it's not worth it?
Right. They're folding up.
Mom and pop shops where they don't have this massive overhead. They're using everything they can to keep their trucks on the road, and now they can't afford it.
Yep.
So now you have less trucks on the road.
Yeah.
So now, is that not demand again?
It's a huge demand.
Right? Supply of trucks is lower now, and the demand is still there.
Yeah. It's fun trying to find a truck right now.
No, it's not.
No, not at all.
How about the effect of competition?
Yeah.
Pricing wise?
Yeah.
I mean, gas stations, you see that. If you got 2 gas stations next to each other, they're usually the same price. One goes up, the other goes up. One goes down, the other goes down. I mean, you have to change based on your competition.
I like that you mentioned that, too, because I have 2 gas stations right next to each other, right? They're within 200 feet of each other. And it's crazy that one of them is 3 cents cheaper than the other one. The one that's 3 cents cheaper is packed.
Yep.
Like, wow. People are really feeling that.
Yep. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy when you think about that. And then, when you start looking at, the different things that can affect it, it's the little things sometimes that you don't think about.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, think about the things we just mentioned. All those things affect inflation, and then people are surprised that prices went up.
That's right.
It just makes me laugh. That's all I can do is laugh.
Like,
it's just so silly.
It is. I had a guy yell at me last week about it. Like, he was super upset, and he wasn't mad at me. So to be clear about that, he wasn't yelling at me. He was just yelling at me, because I was the guy listening.
Yeah, you're going to be his punching bag for a little bit.
Exactly. But it was like he was so mad about everything, and I'm like, and I finally just stopped, and I said that exact statement that you said earlier, Garrett. I was like, you can't get baby formula right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want you to think about that. Like, does it surprise you can't get your material?
Right.
Like, you can't get something people need to live. Right. Like, I understand, man. I'd be mad too if I can't get Baltic birch.
It makes me laugh.
You can survive without Baltic birch.
Where does the thinking come in? You're feeling it everywhere. You're seeing it.
Yeah.
We're no different.
Yeah. And how can a price point change in 90 days? Right? How can that happen? Well, I mean, steel prices went up 31% in one day in March.
Yeah.
One day.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You know, what do you think that does to manufacturing? You know, when cost of steel jumps 31% in a single day.
Right.
You know, if your product has a 10 to 30% margin on it, what could a company do if that kind of price hike hits?
Well, you got to think about it, too. That happened in a day.
One day.
How fast can you change your prices to make up for that? That takes time.
Yeah.
It's not like we can just go online and change the price the next day to help make up for that.
Correct.
It takes time to get those things in place. So we're paying 31% more for our steel without taking a price increase.
Well, it's not only that, but you get a quote from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're one of the few companies that honors our quotes for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
There's companies out there now that you have 24 hours on your quotes.
There are.
Because of the fact that 24 hours later, the prices are different and they don't know what it's going to be.
That's true. You're seeing.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
But, I mean, even at 30 days, that means for 30 days, my prices could be jumping all over the place and I got to honor that price.
Right.
You know, and then people are shocked when you won't give them a discount. It's like, what do you mean you won't give me a discount? I'm kind of hoping you don't buy right now because I need to take a price increase, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like I'm losing on this deal already.
I
Like,
was actually going to ask you for more money, not
Yeah.
not the other way around
yeah, exactly.
here. But
I should have asked you for a little bit more money. No, in all seriousness, though, like it is the real world we live in right now with that. You know, supplies are disappearing, obviously.
yeah,
You know, remember when supplies, you know, existed worldwide, people all buy from different vendors, right? I mean, that's something people don't think about. Like when the supplies disappear, like that's something that I hear a lot from people right now. Is because we're dealing with supply chain issues just like anybody else, but you get people that just are so upset because it's an issue everywhere that they, you know, they kind of take it out on you and they say, you know, something like, "Well, did you guys not prepare for this?" Like,
no, sir, we didn't.
like, no, I was winging it the whole time. No, but I mean, seriously, though, it's, you know, remember when supplies existed worldwide,
Yep.
everybody bought from their own vendors, right? Everybody has their supplies, they get what they want, and you can kind of just count on your vendor having what they have, you know? However, when one vendor, or in the case of the world we're in right now, where many vendors begin running short on parts, you know, the consumer begins looking for an answer to their problem, right? An alternative solution,
Right.
you know, outside of their normal. And so what happens? This means those parts that you used to have, you know, disappear.
Yep.
Because, I mean, the parts, you know, vendors become overwhelmed and they, you know, and overbooked realistically.
Right.
Because, you know, they forecast for us, right? I'm just going to use us as an example. You forecast like, hey, I know that they're going to buy 100 parts this month, right?
Yep.
Or whatever that part is. And then they stock for 100 on the shelf for us, right?
Yep.
But then so-and-so comes along and needs 50 of them. Well, now they have 100 for us and 50 for them. Well, they only stocked 100.
Yep.
So now you need 150 and you have 100 of them. Who's going to lose on that deal?
We are. They're going to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
And hope that they can get more on the shelf before we
And
need
the
'em.
problem is, by the time you realize it, quote unquote me, because I go to buy my 100, right? I show up at the store like I always do, like, hey, I want my 100. Oh, we only have 50.
What?
What? I told you, I bought 100 for 20 years.
You said you had 100 on the shelf for me.
Yeah. Oh, well, I sold them. Or they go with, well, we just didn't get our shipment.
That's common.
You know?
Right? It didn't come in.
Yeah, like, oh, cool. And then, you know, that's where, you know, you start getting into that shortage then because, you know, that means those normal parts that become depleted, you know, there's nothing you can do at that point, you know?
Right. Well, and then the think of it, the guy that just ordered the 50, is he
Yep.
going to come back next month and order another 50?
Well, he'll just keep going to whoever can get him parts, right?
Right.
So stock levels quickly become depleted to a, you know, low level and below safety measures a lot of times.
Yep.
And then, you know, this is where things happen. You know, a trucking company's delayed now on the next shipment, right?
Yep.
And they're already to an unsafe level of stock level, and now they run out of parts.
It's happening.
And so people, you know, offset these costs, you know, with inflation. They change, you know, the prices. They, you know, change lead times. They do what they got to do to offset that. So, you know, think about, I mean, like I said, let's just think about what gas prices did in 6 months. I want people to remember that. Look what gas prices did in 6 months.
It's insane, man. I remember just a couple of years ago, like I believe it was like $1.56, right? $1.50.
Last year.
Was it last year? Mm-hmm. I thought it was previous to that one.
No, it was like last year. I guess maybe it was a little more than that. But last summer, I'm pretty sure I was paying like, for diesel, it was like $2.49.
Oh, you've been driving diesel for a long time. That's right.
Yeah.
Do you remember at that time period when that high mark down here was 97 cents a gallon?
Yep, I do.
That's insane. That was
Yep.
2 years ago, man.
I do remember that.
Crazy.
I do remember. Remember
Here
when they're
we are.
shutting oil companies down
Yeah.
in Texas because we had so much oil?
We had too much.
Like now you're like, can we get some of that too much oil back again?
Can you just turn the valve just a little bit?
Can we open that back up? But no, it's one of those things where you got to talk about the fact that inflation's around the world right now. And the reality is most places right now, the average inflation right now you're seeing is anywhere from 25 to 50% inflation on a lot of items.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good as a company, the fact that we have maintained similar pricing throughout COVID and the supply chain crisis. And in the entire time of it, since the beginning of COVID to now, we've only had a 9% change overall.
I think that speaks volumes about our company.
Is that not
It
pretty
gets
awesome?
me excited. No, like legitimately makes me excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. I mean,
That's
it's just,
awesome.
It's a big difference. I mean, I'm probably rounding down a little bit. I think it's 9.2 to be real.
Ooh.
But I mean, that's a pretty big. I hang my hat on that one because it's
I'd
like,
be proud of it.
And not me personally, but I think everybody here should hang their hat on it because the purchasing guys are working their tail off to make sure we can find parts at the similar price to what we were paying before and keeping up with stock levels the best we can. Now, that doesn't mean we're not buying more expensive parts because I'm buying the parts I can find.
Yeah, you have to.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to not buy parts because they're more expensive. But it's allowed us to, we've been able to be very smart about the way we do things. Our team has been forecasting out well in advance. And so we were able to buy in mass quantity for a long time. And because we had the storage, we were fortunate enough we could hang on to it.
Yeah, we got an awesome parts section.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to think about that stuff. Like, the production guys are kicking butt back there. They're using, time well, using the labor where we should. So we've been able to maintain very similar prices.
Right. And still get machines out the door. That's the other impressive part.
Exactly.
We're still averaging about, 100 a month, you said?
About 100 a month, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
What can you do, though? Let's talk about that. What can you do for your businesses out there? Or what can you do out there in the world right now with this inflation? What can you do? I mean, the reality is inflation sucks. It is what it is.
Yeah.
What can you do, though?
Have some compassion. Be patient.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think all of us have to. I mean, I get frustrated on days where I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with these parts issues. Like, I'm just going to be angry at the parts guy. No, you can't. Like, you got to have some compassion and ask the questions. Be respectful.
Right.
The one thing I always find is like, I get being frustrated. I don't get being disrespectful.
I don't get that either.
I get that you want answers. Trust me, I want to give you answers. And just like anybody wants to give you answers. But, most will explain where their pricing increases have come from or, where the delays are if you're disrespectful with them, right?
Yep.
And that's what I found is that anytime I don't understand something, I just go ask questions. I'm just like, hey, why did your guys' price go up so much on this? I want to know.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll tell you, what they're seeing.
As long as you're polite.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta remember you're not the only one, too. Everyone else is going through it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I think sometimes people forget that. Like, you're probably the fifth call that day, Like, I called a guy last Thursday about just something for my home, but the prices had gone up. And I asked him flat out, I'm like, hey, what's the deal? Why is it so much more? Like, I get price increases, but man, that's like a pretty big jump. Because I think I calculated it out. It was like 61%. Yeah, and I'm like, that's a lot, I'm like, I get increases, but 61's a lot.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and he and I talked a little bit, and he explained some things to me that, it was what it was, and I can't control it. But he also told me, and I asked him, I said, hey, how often do you do this? He said, I've taken 7 of these calls today alone. Think about that guy for a second there. And, he and I had a really good conversation. He thanked me. He's like, dude, thanks for being respectful with me. He's like, I've been yelled at so many times today. And that's when I asked him, like, how many of these calls have you taken today? And he goes, 7. I'm thinking about that. What if 6 guys have already yelled at him, like the 7th guy screaming at him probably isn't getting the same attention, right? At that point, he's just done, right?
Yeah, yell at me all you want.
Yeah, so I will say that, I got a lot further with that guy, obviously using a little bit of respect. Now, it didn't solve my problem. He's still got to pay the price, and I still got to wait on the product. But
Right.
it did, it wasn't going to help my day either by yelling at him, right?
No.
Didn't put me in a better position by yelling at him. So.
No, I mean, he'll most likely ignore your call next time, right?
Yeah, and the one thing that I did learn is I should probably plan ahead next time.
A little bit.
I didn't really think about that one.
It's an important step right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll call myself on that one. So plan ahead. Products aren't getting cheaper. Let's be honest on that one.
Right.
So if you find something you believe is in your budget, it might be in your best interest to jump on that opportunity.
Right. You know the things you need around your shop. You know the things you need for your
Yep.
business.
Around your house, anything.
Absolutely.
Be prepared.
So,
Act now.
Yeah, if you're not planning ahead or trying to get things that you need for a couple months down the road, this honestly, sorry, but it's your fault.
Act now and make a difference for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you say, Brandon?
Yeah.
Or what is that other one? Like, lack of planning on your end doesn't constitute an emergency on my end.
I
Something like that.
I like to use that one with my kids. Yes, I always like tell my kids that.
I like that one.
Yeah, lack of planning on your part didn't constitute an emergency on my part.
Right.
Because my kids sometimes like to forget to do certain things, and then suddenly, Dad, I didn't do this. We need to get it done. Like, no. You need to get it done. I didn't forget to do it. You forgot to do it. This is
I've always
not an
liked that
emergency
one.
for me. This is an emergency for you.
I've always liked that one.
Yeah, the kids don't like it
This
as much.
is
They
your
get,
emergency.
they get a little upset at me. when I
Oh, the
pull
kids
that.
don't like it when I tell them it either.
But it's the truth, But don't say what you don't know either.
Right.
That's one thing I always say. Like when you're talking to your customers, it's the same way I talk to customers. Like customers get mad at me sometimes because I won't give them information that I don't know. Right? I won't commit to something. Like I won't. Sorry, that's what we've always said are estimated lead times. And people are like, well, I need to know what day it's going to ship on. Like I can't tell you that. Like I don't know that yet until it's done. Until it's ready to ship, I'm not telling you a ship date.
Right.
But I hear once in a while people say, well, I told my customer. Like, you probably shouldn't have. Like, don't tell them things until you are confident.
Right. We didn't tell you to tell your customers.
Yeah, exactly. I don't guarantee lead times for a reason. Like,
Right.
I don't know what my vendor is going to do sometimes. Trust me, I've received trucks that are supposed to have boxes on it that aren't on that truck.
Very true.
Truck opens its door and I have 3 boxes and I was supposed to have 13.
Where's the rest of it?
Hey, you're missing a few. Did you leave the door open going down the road? But, the other thing is source from American made. That's one thing I will say. Buying outside the U.S. is only increasing the problems right now.
It is.
It doesn't help because now you got stuff stuck at port.
Right.
And that's what people don't realize. When I say buy American made, people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it does because American made products don't get stuck at port.
No, they don't.
Ever.
No, they don't.
So if you buy American made, it's not going to get stuck at port.
Nope.
Not going to float in a boat out there. Float in a
That's
boat.
right.
I like that one.
No, you'll get it a lot sooner, and you're supporting families here in our country, right?
Yep.
You're supporting the people who are going through these tough times, just like you are.
Yep.
People that depend on you.
Preach. I like it. The other thing is you only increase costs when you export or you import. Import, excuse me. Because
They don't ship it over here for free.
that's my point. Is like at the end of the day, like you're not helping the situation because now there's less business in the in the US economy.
Right.
So now the business they are doing has to make up for the lost business to keep the doors open because of inflation. So it's like doesn't really stop inflation. It just
No.
makes inflation worse. Because now the demand is going down, right?
It's crazy, man.
At least when there's demand, you can invest in people, in equipment, and things. But when demand stops, now suddenly you're not going to spend more money on things, so lead times are just going to get longer,
They are.
right?
Yeah.
So people sometimes don't think about that stuff.
No,
so inflation,
they don't.
That's where it comes from. I mean, it's real there, right? But yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things with inflation that I think we should talk about with regards to what inflation, really is. Like what really causes inflation, I guess, is part of this. But it's really inflation is just simply the costs of doing business in the world today. Really, when you think about it,
Yeah. Increased costs of doing business.
right? I mean, which is that not what you would? I mean, I guess how would you describe inflation on that one, Jesse? I mean, is that what you'd say, or?
That's a good question. You put me on the spot on that one. I would have to say so. I mean, the cost of doing business to a point. I think the situation we're in is a little bit different, right? I think
Yeah.
this one was kind of created a little differently.
Yeah.
So kind of hard to say that with business right now.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, yeah, I think it's just the cost of doing business. Currently, the way things are being done, right?
Correct.
So, obviously, inflation is the price change over a period of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think like the period of time is a lot shorter this time.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
inflation is one thing when it happens over like a year or 2 years. We're seeing inflation over like weeks, months. You
Right.
know, like it's happening so fast right now. I mean, I watched diesel prices go up 4 times in a 2-week span. You know, it's like, man,
It's not a normal world either, too,
Yeah.
right? You have a pandemic. You
Correct.
have a huge war going on. You have things that play into this. It's
Correct.
not just the lack of goods. There's so many different things that play into this that make the situation what it is. You can't really just pinpoint it, right?
Yeah.
You can't say, well, it's the cost of doing business or it's this. It's everything together. It's an overwhelming ball of crap that's creating
Ball of
this.
crap.
Yeah, it is really. It's so many different things piling on top that's just overwhelming the world, right?
I agree. I agree with that statement right there, because that's what I was kind of trying to get out of you there, because you're pretty good with this stuff. Like,
I pay a lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
I really do. I follow it a lot. The war, obviously, that's a big thing, right? You're sending a lot of money over to another country to help them, which they need. You're not bringing in fuel from that area of the world, so we don't have that resource.
Supply and demand.
We're sending goods, like we said, the baby formula, things like that. We're sending that stuff out of our country. We're helping other countries out at a time where we need it. Where, everybody needs it.
Yep.
So it's like kind of like doling it out, and it's just all adding on top at one time. And you can't continue to print money the way we do, right? When you print that much money during a pandemic, where we're at right now, you have inflation.
Yep.
And that's what you're seeing is an overprinting of money with not enough goods in our country. And it's leading to the situation we're in.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean,
Well said.
And the other thing that you have to remember too is that pandemic. Like, this is the aftermath of it. Like, because what happened was, remember when everything was shutting down?
Yeah,
Businesses were shutting down.
they were.
People weren't working.
Yep.
Well, now things are opening back up.
Right.
And people are taking advantage of things being open. That's the other thing that people don't realize is the supply and demand changed because you were dependent on so many things, right? We went to the grocery store. We went to the movie theater. We got on airplanes. We took all this stuff for granted because it was just our normal day.
Right.
Then suddenly you couldn't do that stuff anymore.
Right.
You couldn't go to the grocery store. You couldn't go to the... I shouldn't say the grocery store because you could always go to the grocery store. But you couldn't go to the movie theater, as Garrett put it. You couldn't go do things that you wanted to do. You couldn't go sit at the restaurant.
That's true.
Right? I mean, you couldn't do these things.
That was a big one.
Like, you couldn't do them. And then now suddenly you can again.
And the other side of that, you kind of see it too. What you're saying just kind of turned a light bulb on for me. During the pandemic, all these things were closed, right? And businesses were failing. People were out of work, and you saw these loans come out, right? The PPP loans to save businesses, to keep people working, to keep things open.
Yep.
Now those are coming due, right? People are starting to have to pay that stuff back, and you're going to see that in the prices of your goods,
Correct.
right? Because all that stuff is going to come due again.
Yep. And that's exactly it. Like I said, you think about it, okay? Before the pandemic, you had 100 people working in a factory building the product.
Yeah.
Pandemic hits, product isn't deemed a commodity or a requirement, right? Essential.
Yeah, essential.
So they shut it down.
Yep.
100 people go home.
That's 100 people not at work.
Yep. Now, obviously everything happens fast forward and factory opens back up. 50 people come back.
There's still 50 people at home.
There's still 50 people that did not come back to those jobs and it's not because they're at home necessarily. I mean, 50 people may have found different jobs because they couldn't sit at home.
Right.
They didn't have the choice to sit at home. It didn't work for their family, their lifestyle, whatever it was.
Right.
So 50 people made a career change.
Yep.
So now a factory opens up and now they're 50 people short.
Right.
Now let's take it to even less extreme. What if it's just 20 people that didn't come back?
That's still 20 people.
It's still 20%.
Yeah.
They're down 20%.
Mm-hmm.
But now the factory has to make up for lost time because they didn't make product for 6 months.
Right. So now
So
you're
the
working
depleted
overtime.
world, obviously inventory is gone.
Yep.
And now everybody's expecting that inventory to be there.
Correct. And then you're working overtime
Yeah.
with the people you do have to get caught up,
Correct.
which overtime costs more money.
Correct.
Right?
So now your labor costs went up.
Yep.
Because even though you're down 20% people, your labor costs have gone up because of the fact that now you're paying overtime.
And I think this goes back to what you said, like you're seeing this happen so fast. This
Yep.
wasn't a long period of time where this happened. This was
Correct.
short. It was boom, here it is.
Yeah, it was in your face.
Right.
Like close, open.
Yep. And boom, here's your new
The problem
prices.
was, and I get it, the world was what it was, but the problem was like you couldn't prepare for something you didn't know.
Right.
You can't be prepared on that kind of stuff, right? How do you know what it's going to look like?
We've never seen something of this
Yeah.
size. Not in our lifetime.
Nope.
At least mine and yours.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I agree, man. It's just, there's a lot going on in a short amount of time there, and I think with inflation, this is what happens.
Yeah. And you're
Like, I hate being the guy that says, like, it is what it is, but it kind of is what it is at this point. There's not one thing that can solve this problem. There's not one thing that you can do that just says, overnight, it's gone. Like inflation's gone, right? I mean, the reality is you still have to think about the fact that you have to come up with product again.
Yep.
Like we can't just magically. Okay, I need 100 of X component, right?
Yeah.
I can't just overnight snap my fingers and it's fixed.
No, you're probably 8 to 12 weeks on that.
Yeah, like no matter what. I mean, there's things we could do right now that will start to resolve this.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that you can do today that tomorrow the problem's gone. I can't come up with that missing 100 parts overnight.
Right,
you know, they don't exist. I can't come up with the people I need tomorrow. I can't train somebody overnight.
No.
Right? Even if I decide, okay, we're going to hire 100 people to solve this problem, right?
Yep.
Somebody's got to train those 100 people.
Who's going to do
right?
it? Yeah.
So, I mean, there's certain things that you just, I mean, I could solve certain things overnight, right?
Yeah.
You can't solve everything overnight.
You know what's great about a CNC machine?
Solve it overnight.
You can solve it overnight.
You know what's great about the website? ShopSabre.com.
I like
You
it.
can find our
Is that
products
you can
there.
find information there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But the other thing is, you know, even with the CNC machine, as much as I wish to say it overnight, you can't
No.
because it's still going to take a lead time to build it.
Right.
But you can start making that move to the right, you know, direction that you're going, and that's
You can
what we're
make that
talking
impact on day one.
about. Yeah,
right?
start
Of that thing,
planning ahead.
yeah, of that arriving in your shop, you can make that impact.
Yeah. If you don't have a CNC yet, you're already behind.
Yeah,
Like realistically, you're already behind.
for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because labor's not getting easier.
Right?
Inflation, unfortunately, I don't think we're at the end of it.
No, I don't think so either.
So, I mean, the CNC machine is not going to get any cheaper than it was yesterday.
Nope.
It's certainly not going to get any easier to find the people to replace the people you
No,
lost.
CNC is a necessity in this world.
Oh, yeah.
Right, absolutely. Just even taking cost out of the equation, just in every shop.
Yeah.
You know, there's different kinds of CNC equipments, but they're so crucial right now.
Yeah.
They're so incredibly crucial.
Yep.
You can't get people fast enough, and you really need to rely on these machines.
Exactly.
It's-
Automation as a whole, I think, too.
There's no
Oh,
way.
yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah. You know what? I saw at the restaurant the other day. I went to a restaurant with my family.
Robot delivering your drink?
No,
Oh.
I've heard that though. That's cool. But no, they now have. You remember how you used to have the kiosks? Well, first you had people that brought you a bill.
Yeah.
Then you had the kiosk where you
Yeah.
self checkout.
Yeah.
Now they have it on your phone.
You
They
scan the barcode or something?
Yeah,
that's
you
cool.
bring your receipt and it's got like a QR code. You click it and you just pay the whole thing on your phone.
I can just Apple Pay it.
That's what I did. Absolutely cool.
That would be nice because we went out to eat Friday night,
That
and I
is
think we
so
waited
cool.
20 minutes before we finally got our thing. And like, I'm not one to not tip because of that.
Yeah.
But then whenever you want to leave, you can leave.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, she was super friendly, awesome server, and she come up to us and she's like, hey, she's like, here's your food, blah blah blah. I'm gonna leave this with you guys. She's like, I'll keep popping back. I'll get you drinks, whatever you need. But when you guys are ready, you just scan that code and you can pay for it there. She's like, we just got this. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but let me know. I'm like, cool. And so then obviously I have kids. Like that's the thing about me. I have kids, and like kids' attention spans change over, you know, like seconds.
Seconds.
All right, let's
Yeah. Like you're sitting there like, hey, we're all having a good time, and then all of a sudden angry.
Yep.
Like we need to go. Right? It was awesome because literally the kids finished eating, me and my wife were sitting there talking, and that mood change, you know, Ethan,
Yeah.
he just instant mood change, like the Incredible Hulk. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And I'm like, boop, just scanned it, did it. It's super easy. We were
Finishing
done
up,
in
walking to the truck.
2 minutes. Yeah,
Yep.
it was 2 minutes and I was done. And honestly, it could have been faster, but I just took my time because I was trying to figure it all out. And she caught me on the way out, the server. She ran up to me real quick as I was walking out. She's like, hey, just let me know, how did it work? And I was like, it's awesome. I'm like, it's the best thing ever. But like, she got a better tip because of it. I'll promise you that. And it's not, like you said, I'm not going to necessarily judge somebody for it, but it's like, I hate that part of service is that like once they've got your food and they got everything else, you suddenly don't matter anymore, right?
Right.
So then you sit there and wait and wait and wait, and it's like my kids are screaming. Now I want to leave. Now I'm in a bad mood, and it's not your fault that I'm in a bad mood, but now I'm not feeling generous.
Right.
You know, like I'm gonna give you your normal 20%.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna walk out.
Yeah.
But like she definitely got more than 20% just because it was convenient.
Right.
Like, oh man, like this was way easier. My kids, you know, they weren't a nightmare. You know, I was able to walk out now. Like, super awesome.
I love that about like Sam's Club, Scan and Go. Have you done that
That's
before?
awesome.
I've never done that.
You just
I love
pull up
that.
Scan and Go app at Sam's Club, and you can scan your items with your phone, and then you just slide pay, and you go out the front door.
Really?
Yeah, they just scan the QR code on your
So
phone.
you do it like when
Click,
you're putting it in
click.
your cart?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Click, click, and then they scan you, and you're out the door.
Yeah, no, I don't go into Sam's Club too often, to be honest with you.
I don't go to places anymore where you have to use a register or a self checkout. Have you been to the store lately?
No.
There's nobody at the checkout registers to check you out anymore.
Remember, it's
and then the
Amazon.
self checkouts are down aisles. It's been this way for at least around Apple Valley, Lakeville, where we live. You go to these stores and there's nobody to help you, and there are lines for miles at these places on the self-checkouts.
Yeah, that frustrated me.
Yeah. Those lights are always on, blinking, asking for someone to come help. I scan too many items. So those lines are all the way down, rows.
I'm sorry, I missed orientation day. I don't know how to check myself out.
So for now on, if Sam's Club doesn't have it, I don't buy it.
Oh.
I walked out of Fleet Farm the other day. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah, the line was too long.
I haven't been to
put my
Fleet-
bullets down.
you did tell me about
walked
that.
out of Fleet
I
Farm.
haven't been to Fleet Farm in a while, though,
I
honestly.
haven't either.
It was
Sad.
It was a 2.5 hour line at Fleet Farm. The lady said
2.5 hours to wait in line?
2.5 hour line at Fleet Farm. They were down every row.
Why?
I was like, because no one showed up. They had 40% of their employees show up for that shift that day. That's it. So she said 2.5 hour line. I even tried to buy a gun so I could check out at the gun counter. I knew Bree would kill me. I didn't care, but it would have got me out of the store, But they had no employees to check you out.
Jeez.
And you can't fire them because then you're
Yeah, what are you
miss
do?
you the next
Fire the
day.
ones that did show up?
Yeah, you didn't come to work today, so you're fired. Tomorrow's going to be a rough day, guys.
Yeah. No, it's a rough world.
It is.
You take for granted what you have.
Absolutely.
You take for granted what we had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately the world's changing, and there's going to be
Can always be worse.
Yeah, there's going to be some level of normalcy to this. I mean, unfortunately, you're going to have to find the new normal, and like you said, the new normal is probably going to end up being these scan and go things that you explained. Like I didn't know that was a thing even, but this receipt thing at the restaurant, like it was pretty cool, but like it speeds. Again, same thing. There's less servers, so I mean that speeds her job, but she doesn't have to run back and forth the card. Like how much easier is that for her? She didn't have to.
Yeah.
Jump back and forth. To me, that's what you got to automate. Start getting automation. Start making life easier on the employees you do have.
Right.
So that they want to show up every day.
Automate it where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
automation doesn't work everywhere.
No.
There's certain things that you can't. I mean, I can't automate certain functions of the job, right?
Right.
But there are certain things you can do, and you want to do that. You want to make it easier on the employees that you do have so that they continue to enjoy what they do every day.
Right. And realize there's not a whole lot you can do about this right now.
Inflation right now is inflation, and have compassion. Be respectful. Let's just all figure it out together.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Damn right.
We're all in this together.
Jesse, don't move to Nashville. Anyways, so at the end of this episode, no, but like I said, head out to ShopSabre.com. Check it all out.
ShopSabre.com.
ShopSabre.com.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.